Welcome to the Performance Enhancing Podcast. It's like steroids for your brain. A podcast for people looking to live life at their peak potential. Chock full of real-world tools and knowledge that you can apply in your life today. By providing you with a lens into the lives, beliefs, practices, and actions of those who are already living extraordinary lives, the Performance Enhancing Podcast will help you shift your mindset or create that change in your daily rituals and habits so you can explode with success in the areas of life that are most important to you. So get ready for another dose of Performance Enhancing Podcast with SatoriPrime. Here's your host, Ilan Ferdman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Pep Talk with your host, Ilan Ferdman. Awesome guest today with a super sexy Australian accent and voice. My buddy, James Swanwick, decided to grace us with his presence on this amazing show. I was actually on his podcast recently. We had such a blast. I told him he has to come on mine. And James has a really great story. I'm not going to steal his thunder, but basically he went from earning $75 a day as a construction worker to now being just an amazing entrepreneur. He's done some incredible things. I'm not even going to spill the beans. You're just going to have to listen. But one of the big things we speak about, at least in part one, is something that he started in 2010. He actually stopped drinking alcohol, and not because he was an alcoholic or anything like that. Just as a test for performance, he did a 30-day no alcohol challenge with himself, and now he's promoting that, and people are completely changing their lives, their sleep habits, losing weight. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So I wanted to bring him on here because it's such a unique angle, and I say this in the podcast, but James is not someone who's against alcohol. He's not righteous about it by any stretch of the imagination. He's purely coming at it from a performance angle, and I think you'll really appreciate him. Now, at the end of this, something really cute and spontaneous happens, so you'll just have to wait till the end of the interview to find out what that is. All right, now on to the interview with James Swanwick. Enjoy, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So I brought a buddy of mine here. We actually hung out a few times, most recently in New Jersey, and does a lot of interesting things. I don't know how much of it you can talk about, but we're going to talk a lot about mindset today, how to accomplish certain things, something that I don't think we've ever spoken about this show, being an alcoholic. So first of all, welcome to the show, James Swanwick.
Ilan, it's great to be here. Thanks so much.
So, okay, guys, first things first, I just have to say his voice is amazing and his accent's amazing, so it makes me feel a little uncomfortable. I've always wanted to talk with an Aussie accent. Is that weird?
Go on. Let me have you throw a few shrimps on the bar.
I can't do it. It's terrible. It's terrible. I've always tried. I was like, no,
go on. Give it a go.
You give it a go. Give it a go.
That was an excellent Sri Lankan accent. Yeah.
The only accent I found myself able to do is a complete hillbilly Southern hick. That's the only thing. And it's usually only when I'm drunk and typically on Halloween. So we'll leave the accents aside. So James, tell people a little bit about your background. You've interesting careers.
Yeah, well, I'm Australian-American. Grew up in Brisbane on the East Coast. I was a journalist to start off with, a newspaper reporter for Rupert Murdoch broadsheet newspaper. I covered politics and business and finance, and moved to London as a 23-year-old back in 1999 and became a sports reporter at Sky Sports and covered the Rugby World Cup and Wimbledon and things like that. Fell in love with an English girl who dumped me, and I was pretty brokenhearted by that. So I jumped on a plane and said, I'm going to America. I didn't really want to go back to Australia. I'm like, I'm going to America. Flew into Los Angeles, didn't know whether I was going to turn left or right out of the airport. Ended up living in a hostel in Hermosa Beach for 3 months, paying $15 a night and sleeping in a bunk bed with a bunch of other snoring backpackers. Worked on a job site as doing construction for $75 cash a day. Figured out how to be a celebrity reporter. So I interviewed movie stars like Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did that for about 5 or 6 years. Started a PR company, lost the PR company when the 2008 crisis hit. Fell in love with a beautiful Colombian woman. She dumped my ass as well. I was brokenhearted by that. There's a real pattern of me.
I was going to say we're developing a pattern.
Yeah, there's a pattern. And now I quit drinking in 2010. Became a SportsCenter anchor on ESPN for a couple of years, and now very much an entrepreneur and just kicking ass in life because I've just focused very much on health and mindset and all those kind of things. So yeah, pretty dull so far. We'll see how we go.
I think we forgot the one girl in Buenos Aires too that
I sound like a bit of a lost cause, don't I, saying I'm in love with two girls and they both dumped me, but no, that's only two amongst many. They're just the most memorable ones.
So James has something really interesting that he's put out into the world, and mostly from his life experience, and we'll talk a little bit about it, but he actually does a 30-day no alcohol challenge. And I know like everyone's got these like 30-day challenges of right now there's the no sugar and no carbs one that everyone's big on. But this is different because this is something that I don't think people quite understand the effects that alcohol has on their performance. And I think you mentioned to me that your big breakthrough happened when you actually stopped drinking. So that was what you said, 2010, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was a social drinker, sometimes a binge drinker. So I'd have a few beers, a few wines during the week, and then I'd probably turn it on Friday and Saturday night, like most people. Got drunk a few times, was hungover most Saturday and Sunday mornings, sleeping in, didn't really drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or maybe just had a few beers here and there. I certainly was not an alcoholic. I didn't have a drinking problem, but the drinking was causing some problems in the sense that I wasn't as productive. I wasn't clear-headed. I wasn't as energetic. Yeah. And I just felt like I was living life at like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I knew I was capable of so much more, but the alcohol was just kind of slowing me down. It was like a ball and chain around my ankles, to be honest with you. And I know that you said in a podcast that we did on my show recently, Ilan, that your greatest fear is that you're not showing up in the world as well as you can be, that you're not leaving a legacy, that you're not making an impact in the world. For me, when I was drinking, even just socially, it was making me tired. I wasn't focused. I wasn't kicking ass in business. I was just average, just mediocre. So finally, I hit the wall in 2010. I was at Austin. It was March 2010. I was at the South by Southwest Festival. I'd had a couple drinks the night before, not too many, but I woke up with this terrible hangover. I went into an international house of pancakes on the outskirts of Austin for a hungover breakfast. And there were these fat Americans sitting to the left and the right of me. They're having these all-you-can-eat like pancakes with maple syrup and whipped cream.
Were they drinking the berry sauces? Were they like, oh?
That's what you imagine in an IHOP, right? And I just felt like death. I'm just like, you know what? Enough's enough. I got to draw a line in the sand here. I got to quit. I'm just going to quit alcohol for 30 days. See what happens. I just got to, just get this out of the system. That's what I did. After 30 days, I'd lost 13 pounds of fat. I started attracting a higher caliber of person into my life. I slept better. My skin improved. I had more focus. I started helping my friends and thinking of ways how I could help other people versus what can I get out of other people. It was just a complete physical and mindset shift. And it led to me achieving this lifelong dream of hosting a TV show. I ended up hosting SportsCenter on ESPN. I created a business. Money started flowing into my life. Beautiful women started flowing into my life. Health and nutrition and mindset and positivity started flowing into my life. Quitting drinking has literally made me obscene amounts of money and brought obscene amounts of happiness into my life.
I want to point out a couple of things, and I want to ask you a question. One, social drinker. We're not talking alcoholic, and I really want to drive that home because I'm a social drinker, right? So like on weekends, I used to drink. My wife and I are big winos, and I love beer. So it was very commonplace, finish work, come home, glass of wine, glass of, beer, something like that. I realized how that was affecting me during my work week. And I completely stopped that. So now on weekends, we'll drink here and there. Not like I did in my roaring 20s, but definitely that. Here's what I want to ask you. When I, back in college, I actually smoked pot, and I remember during tests for like midterms or finals, I would quit for, 2-3 weeks at a time. I don't have an addictive personality. It was super simple. And I remember in those moments, the clarity, how much less irritable I was, how much better I felt, how much better I slept. Like all of this stuff happened. I mean, I was in college, so I still went back to it. But when you're on it, you have no clue how much it's affecting you.
Right.
So my question to you is, because you said, Ilan, you said, I realized that I was tired, I wasn't focused, I was average. You said, I think I was living like a 5 or a 6.
Mm-hmm.
How did you realize that when you're in it?
Mm-hmm. It built up over years, quite frankly, got to the point, that moment where I decided to change. Tony Robbins says this all the time. He says, it doesn't take you years to change. It takes you one moment, just like that. Yeah. It took you 10 years to get to that moment. When the moment comes, you just got to go bang. So I kind of knew sort of maybe on a subconscious level that sleeping in on a Saturday and Sunday, or sleeping in on a Wednesday and Thursday after a couple of drinks the night before, was holding me back. But it was that moment in the IHOP in Austin, on the outskirts of Austin, being hungover, and that was the moment where it just said, we got to try something different here. And I didn't know what the results were going to be. I just said, let's test it. But when I tested it and I got to the 30 days and I realized that I was sleeping better and I was more productive and that I'd made more money and that I had more clarity and greater focus, I just went, you know what? I'm just going to keep on going. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since then. Since 2010, not a drop. I wasn't an alcoholic. I just drank socially. I don't tell people quit drinking forever. I just say, quit drinking for 30 days and see what it's like. I promise you, if you're an entrepreneur, you will make more money. If you are stuck in your business, you will find the breakthrough. If you think that there's not enough hours in the day for you to kick ass in your business, you will find or make the hours in the day when you are clear-headed and when you are focused. So, I think I suspected it on a subconscious level over years that it was kind of holding me back, but it became really crystal clear on that morning in Austin.
Were you an entrepreneur at this point?
I wasn't. Well, I mean, I was in the sense that I was a freelance journalist interviewing movie stars. Okay. And so I ran my own business, but it wasn't like a traditional business where I was selling products or selling information. I hadn't taken it to the next level. To be frank with you, 2010, I was probably making 130, 140 grand as a freelance journalist, just as my own. So yeah, I ran myself as a business, but it wasn't anything compared to what I consider a business now. But as soon as I quit, as soon as I stopped the drinking, and an opportunity came up to host SportsCenter on ESPN. They pay very handsomely there. It is a job. It's not an entrepreneur thing. Like, you do work for Disney. Disney owns ABC. ABC owns ESPN.
Mickey Mouse is your boss.
Mickey Mouse is your boss.
Hey, James, I need you to do this interview today.
But you know what? That was what I dreamt of doing something like that for 20 years.
Wow.
And it came up like within 2 months of me quitting drinking. And when it came up, I seized the opportunity. I was like, right, how do I make a plan? I'm going to go for this. I'm going to fly out there to goddamn Bristol, Connecticut. I'm going to charm this producer. I'm going to kick ass at my audition. I'm going to get this thing and I'm going to host this damn show if it kills me. If I was drinking, there's no way I would have done that. I would have been like, maybe, or I would have slept in, or would have I'll get around to it. Maybe one day. But in this case, when I had that clarity, it was like, now, this is it. I'm going for it. I'm seizing the opportunity.
It's funny. My brother and I talk about this a lot. He used to smoke cigarettes, and the reason he gave up smoking is for this simple concept. 2 things can't occupy the same space at the same time. Now, when you eliminate something from your life, he didn't know, just like you didn't know, what would show up. But clearly that thing, whatever that thing is, right? Smoking, alcohol, eating shitty, whatever, is holding space. When that gets removed, something now needs to fill that space. And if you're consciously aware, right, stuff just shows up. So it absolutely makes sense for people that are stuck in their business, for people that are looking for some sort of answer, whether it's in relationships or finances or whatever. A lot of people use alcohol as an escape.
I mean, and it's so ingrained in our culture, Ilan. Like, you think about it, it's like when you think of a romantic dinner, you think of a candlelit dinner with a bottle of wine. Well, who says you need to have the bottle of wine for the romance? When we think of celebration, like a wedding or a toast, he's like, well, got to have champagne. Who says you got to have champagne? When it's NFL Sunday or college football season on the Saturday and you want to go to a bar and watch the game, well, you got to have a few beers when you watch the game. Well, who said you got to have a few beers? You can do all of those activities without the alcohol, but it's so habitually ingrained into our mindset that when you're 18, you start drinking. When you're 21, you have a 21st birthday party and you start drinking, and you drink excessively and you throw up and you get sick and people laugh and joke about it and you say, oh, I was wasted the night before. You play beer pong, you chug, you go through your 20s, you go out, you go on a date with a girl, you make sure that you're in a bar so that the wine is flowing. There's all of these things that we just equate as just normal, but they're not normal. It's ridiculous that we equate it with normal. And I'll tell you why it's normal, because the marketing companies behind the liquor brands are feeding us this idea that alcohol equals pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me just challenge that. And again, I just want to be clear here. I don't want to go on a big rant or anything, but I'm not saying that alcohol is the devil. I'm not saying that you shouldn't drink alcohol forever. I'm not, quit alcohol forever. I'm saying reduce alcohol, quit for 30 days, see what it's like. Because after that, most people who take my official 30-day no alcohol challenge program, they reduce afterwards or they quit. The marketing companies behind these things are always promoting this idea of fun times and good friends. And if you want to be part of the tribe, then you're going to have beers while you watch the game. If you want to be part of the tribe, then you better drink champagne at the wedding. If you want to be part of the tribe, then you want to be wearing a bikini or have a six-pack abs, lazing by the pool, having cocktails. I mean, there's a big billboard on Sunset Boulevard here in Los Angeles, where I live, of George Clooney promoting his tequila brand. Yeah. He's a black leather jacket on a motorcycle, and there's the tequila bottle, as if to suggest if you want to be cool, sophisticated, and suave like George Clooney, which he is, then you'll drink this bloody tequila.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can be cool, and suave, and sophisticated like George Clooney without the damn tequila.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
I really want to say this because I think it's really important. James, by no means is I've been around plenty of people who are like, get all high and mighty on whatever diet they're on or whatever religion or personal development thing they've done. It's like, this is the best thing. If you don't do this, you're a moron. I spent plenty of time with James. I mean, everyone around you is drinking. You don't even look at people in that way where it's like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? There's none of that. This is purely from his experience and to shed light on the fact that by trying something new, you could experience something new. And for a lot of people, they just won't get that. You know, you're talking about marketing. It's like they talk about pleasure, but for people, and this is what I was saying before, alcohol is an escape, right? Like that's their pleasure. It's not that the alcohol is pleasure. It's the act of escaping their state.
Correct.
That is what they're seeking.
Absolutely. Nobody actually craves the taste of alcohol. Now think about it. The first time you had a sip of beer or wine or tequila or Zambuca or whatever, what did you do? You went, oh, that's disgusting, right? Because it doesn't taste good. But what happens is that it's a poison, it's a toxin, it's a drug. So when you have it and then the drug leaves your body, it leaves you wanting more of that. So every time you think that you're craving a drink, you're not craving a drink. You're craving the relief of your withdrawal. You're craving a different state. If you're stressed and you go, I really need a drink to calm my nerves, You don't need the drink to calm your nerves. You just need to change your state. You can change your state by jumping up and down, doing push-ups, going for a walk around the block, breathing deeply, meditating, drinking an ice cold glass of water, by phoning a friend, by doing anything to change your state. So I want you to understand this, okay? You do not crave the taste of alcohol. You do not crave the taste of alcohol. All you are craving is a relief of your craving, of your withdrawal. And that's because alcohol is a drug. Now, again, you're listening to this. Most of you, 99% of you listening or watching this, you're not an alcoholic. You don't even have alcoholic tendencies, but you're a social drinker. You drink enough that it holds you back. It slows you down. Yeah. You sleep in a little bit too long on a Monday or Tuesday because you had a couple of drinks the night before. You said the wrong thing. You're irritable. You yell at someone in traffic, someone in the grocery line. Credit card doesn't work. And so you're pissed off because you got to wait an extra 45 seconds. These little things, as a result of you drinking alcohol and being tired, these little things add up to big things over time.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I coach this amazing guy, and the only way that people can actually make a profound change in their life is, I think, when they associate stuff like this to performance, which I think is what you really talk about. Because if it's just about quitting alcohol, people don't care. But if you wake up on Monday and you're groggy and your performance at work, like whatever your specific measurable results for your work day are hurting, and you bring conscious awareness to that, now you have to ask yourself a really good question. Is that drink that I had at Sunday at 9 p.m. before I was going to work on Monday really worth it? And that's, I think, once you start equating your life, how you perform in life, how you are in your relationships, how you show up at work, how you perform at sports, whatever it might be, to that, now you have a shot. Now there's like something to aim for versus like, I'm just going to give it up just to give it up. Good.
Let me make it very clear as the benefits that you will get if you eliminate alcohol for just 30 days. Okay. Let's just say you do my 30-day no alcohol challenge program, or you just do it on your own. Okay. Either way, this is what will happen. You will save more money. You will make more money. You will sleep better, which will make you more focused. And being more focused will give you greater clarity. And having greater clarity will create a better strategy for your life. And having a better strategy will mean that you will execute and take appropriate action rather than just action. And by taking the appropriate action, you will make more money. And by making more money, you will be happier. And by being happier, you will eat healthier. And by eating healthier, you will have more energy to make more money. And then making more money and having more energy and sleeping better will attract a higher caliber of person into your life. When you're happier and feeling amazing and energetic, you will attract happy, amazing, energetic people into your life. And when you are making millions of dollars in your business, you will start hanging out with people who are making millions of dollars in your business. And it all started because you quit drinking for 30 freaking days.
Yeah.
People need to be like, really have this issue just force fed to them, because it all starts with just eliminating that one thing that's holding you back. And you may, up until this point, you may not have even noticed it. You may have just thought, it's just what you do. It's part of the norm, whatever. But what's it costing you? Is one drink a day costing you something? Is it costing you money, health, relationships, your ability to live at a 9 out of 10? Do you want to just exist in the world at a 4 or 5 out of 10? Or do you really want to live like Ilan is?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's so many people that I used to roam around that just used alcohol as an escape, as a state alteration. And I read a great book, Culture Code, a while back that really put this in perspective, because basically the gist of the book is that there's a culture code for everything. And it's kind of like the first emotional tie that we have to something and how we function with it. So just to give you an idea, in the US, he's French, so he does a lot of comparisons between US and France. But obvious ones, like in the US, food, the culture code for food is fuel, right? In France, it's, I don't remember the exact thing, but it's not fuel, right? Like their dinners are 4 hours long, courses in between courses, 20. In this country, like you sit at those restaurants, most people just like, where's my food, right? Fast food, fill up, like all that kind of stuff. That's the culture code. So in France, what he said was really interesting. When he was a kid growing up, when they were at a celebration, at a wedding or something, he was 7, I think, and his father came to him with a glass of champagne and a sugar cube in the champagne to make it sweeter. And he gives it to him, and he doesn't just give it to him like, hey, have fun. He sits there and he has the son taste it. And he asks him, how did it taste? What did you notice happen in your mouth? So the association with booze is flavor. It's experience. It's that. In this country, it's like you turn 18 or whatever, right? And like your dad, like, here's a 6-pack, have fun. And we drink literally piss water. And our association with is, this first association is you get drunk. And you're like, ooh, that altered my state. So in this country, it's really interesting, but the culture code is gun for alcohol. And then you talk about things like shots, right? So like everything is programmed with that. Really, really interesting. And I think in this country, it's probably worse than any other. You know, I've been to Italy, they drink, but it's not this. I can't, I'm in the middle of an interview, buddy.
Your little one heard the booze talk. He's like, give me a drink. I want one.
All right, can you go upstairs? I can't. I got to finish this interview. I'll be upstairs in a little bit, okay? Love you. No, you can't wait because you're going to make noise. Okay, so you can sit there and be quiet. No, you can't. I'm sorry, James. Buddy, I need you to go upstairs, please. Okay, come.
Ilan's just sorting out his son there. So yeah, the association. I was going to attempt to start talking there, but the family issues in the background. So yeah, here are a couple of little things, some fun facts about alcohol while we wait for Ilan to come back. Number 1, alcohol's a poison. Okay. Number 2, it takes 7 to 10 days for alcohol to leave your system. If you're a woman, it raises the risk of breast cancer. If you're a guy, it lowers your testosterone levels. It reduces your libido, so your sex drive suffers. From a calorie point of view, it makes you fat. 1 beer equals the same amount of calories as 1 burger. 2 wines is the same as 1 burger or 1 donut. It disrupts your sleep. It dehydrates your skin. And when you drink, it makes you crave sugar and carbs because the alcohol messes with your insulin levels. So, you know, you're at a restaurant, you order a meal, and you sit down and you go, oh, I'm so healthy. There's no way I'm going to order dessert. Then you get a couple drinks in you, and then all of a sudden the main meal's finished and the waiter's coming around going, oh, desserts. And you're like, yeah, we'll have the brownie. We'll have the ice cream. So it makes you crave those sugar and carbs. And then the other thing is it raises your blood pressure. So again, a little bit here and there is not too problematic. It's fine. If you enjoy the experience of drinking wine on occasion, sure, go to town. No problems at all. I get it. But if you're doing this consistently over time, over months, over years, it's raising your blood pressure, it's lowering your testosterone, it's disrupting your sleep, it's making you fat. The remnants of it are sticking around in your system for 7 to 10 days after your last drink. I mean, you're not living life at an optimum level. You have to be aware of that. I was just holding the fort while you were taking care of family.
I was going to say, this is how you know that you have a pro on the other end who just runs with it. Sorry about that.
Years of being on SportsCenter. You want me to do my SportsCenter voice? So let me give you my SportsCenter voice in my Australian accent. You ready?
So yeah, I don't know if you're watching this on video or listening in your car, but as you can imagine, my son Shai decided to walk in and try to interview James. So that was very interesting. James, being the professional that he is, decided to take over the interview and just continue. That's how you know you're actually on with someone who does this for a living. Now, I know I left this at a cliffhanger, but I want you to come back. James is going to do his ESPN voice for you in part 2. So make sure you come back and listen, and go send James some love for giving you value and dropping some incredible wisdom here with you today. Have an amazing, amazing day, my friends.
Did you run through doors